G'day guys, today I'm going to be going through a review of Fallout 76 as it currently stands. The reason I say as it currently stands is Fallout 76 has a kind of notorious history, and indeed when it came out it got absolutely smashed. So when I say absolutely smashed, the game came out in 2018, and initially Bethesda decided that they would not have NPCs in the game, and was an experience and not a great experience when it first came out. So I had the game from launch, played it for a small amount of time, and then just cut it away. Yeah, and as you can see there, like still a lot from those early reviews. The game got panned. Now that being said, since that time, Bethesda has almost, I'd say, gone back to the drawing board with this game, and it is exponentially better than it was when it first came out. So kicking into, I guess, some of, for me, the pros and cons of this one, number one, and I'm an Xbox player primarily. I do have PlayStation, but it sits and collects dust at the moment. Probably the biggest pro for me is it's included in Game Pass. So if you're an Xbox aficionado, it's already included with Game Pass. You might as well give it a crack. I found it's pretty fun alone. So there's a lot of games where different things you'll struggle to be able to do on your own. Whereas this one, you're good to go for most instances and most things. There are some that you won't be able to beat alone, but there's still enough active players on there that as you get onto a map, you'll find people. And when we jump in the game, you'll see what I mean in terms of the different game modes. And did I mention it's on Game Pass, so you can't really lose with this one. The one thing I will note is it still has that launch stigma from 2018. So this is a coming up on this year 5-year-old game, but for a 5-year-old game, it is still extremely playable. And in fact, I've only got back into it in the last probably 6 weeks, and am absolutely loving it. All right, so let's now crack into, so you guys can have a look at a little bit of game footage before I give my final review of this game. All right, guys, so let's jump straight into some gameplay so you can have a look at why I think this game is still worth giving a crack, 4.5 years after its launch. So one of the first things to note is that there are 4 different game modes. The third one changes all the time, and 2 of them are locked out to Fallout First. I don't have Fallout First. I'm not a fan of some of these games that charge subscription services. This is not a game that personally I would pay a subscription service from, but the normal mode to me is what I play, and you'll end up with up to 24 players on the map. As this loads in, one thing I will point out, I'm playing this on a Xbox One X at the moment. My actual, gaming Xbox is a Series X, but at the moment I've got the One X set up to stream with. So the performance you're seeing is obviously not as good as the Series X, and also I'm only capturing at 1080p, so it looks a little bit better on a proper monitor, but to be honest, it's all the same to me. Old age means I'm used to playing potato mode for more things than I'd care to admit. Alright, guys, now we're actually in game. Let me show you a little bit. I will note that the Xbox One absolutely isn't as great in terms of what the graphics look like, and also, probably more importantly, how quickly stuff loads into the game. That being said, even on the series, even on the Xbox One, this thing is absolutely playable, and I am a big fan of getting my chainsaw on. So one thing I love about this is there's a good variety of weapons. There's a huge variety of upgrades for the weapons as well. Like this is sort of game suits my, sort of play style. Blast stuff. One thing to note, if you played previous Fallout games, oh man, uh, unlike previous games where that slows down time, because this is a multiplayer type game, VATS will no longer slow stuff down. Rather, it allows you to aim at different points of it. One of the other gameplay features that I really quite enjoy is the ability to capture workshops, which is just what I'm finishing off doing in this little area here. Once you capture one of these, it offers a free fast travel location for you, and it also gives you the ability to build traps, turrets, other workbenches in this location. And by doing that, you can collect resources. So this one here has an ammunition machine, so when you provide power to it, it'll make an ammunition of the nature that you want, which to me is pretty cool. Like, I enjoy that feature quite a lot. And hell, the friends I play with always accuse me of spending way too much time building bases rather than base smashing things. So as I said, one of the things you can do is as you level yourself, you can create different weapons, modify them once you build them. It to me is really one of the really good features of where this game is at the moment. So one of the things you would have seen pop up just before is one of the defend missions. So one of the other things that's cool about the workshops is once you've got one, they'll be periodically attacked by NPCs. Other players can attack to try and capture them. It's added a pretty good mechanic to the game, which depending on what you like. For me, I like it. One thing I will note though is the workshops. Once you actually logged off, everything you've built inside a workshop will be destroyed. So one of the other bits that happens with the workshops periodically, which has just happened here, is they'll be attacked. So in this case, it's being attacked by wild mongrel dogs. And out comes Mr. Chainsaw again. So whilst I'm mid-defense for this one of the things I can point out when it comes to these bases is when you log off, you will lose control of the specific workshops. The things you build generally will stay there, but generally I find that if you log off, log back on, quite often you'll find yourself on a different server or instance, which means you'll potentially lose stuff that you spend on workshops. So I generally try not to spend too many resources on the workshops. Rather, if I'm going to build big bases and the rest of it, then I'll build them as one of my actual camps. One of the other mechanics which has come out, which is pretty cool, is you have the ability to launch nukes. And once you've launched a nuke, it will increase the radiation in a spot of the map, but increase the percentage of, I guess, higher risk enemies, which then allows different rewards, building different things. So one of the other bits I'll show you just while I'm waiting for the dogs to come back. And it's one of the bits that I do enjoy. At the moment, they're running different seasons. So today, I believe, is the last day of the Nuka World season. And in short, throughout the season, you collect a number of different points. Those points come through challenges in the form of score. Score is then used to level up the scoreboard and collect different rewards. So it's yet another one of those cool, I guess, collection type things that keeps you interested in the game, and I've enjoyed quite a bit so far as it's gone through. So guys, in all, whilst I continue to go around and murderize some of these dogs, feral dogs, what's my overall view of this one? Well, I've given her 4 kangas, and part of that is just I enjoy it, and I reckon if you're one of those people that likes first person with a bit of building but not too much building, likes a bit of a balance, and especially, you know, has Game Pass as well, then there's a good chance that you're going to like this game. If I was to give this review back in, you know, November 18 when this came out, and I initially bought and played this game at the start, it would have got half a kanga, being generous, maybe just a kanga tail. But nowadays, I reckon it's actually a pretty good game. Although, you know, as time goes on, now the graphics are going to be get a bit more dated. Although, to be honest, they don't bother me too much at the moment. So, guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope it's informed your choices. Like I said, this is a game that I've been enjoying in the last couple of months, so I reckon is worth giving a crack now. But as always, please have yourself a great day.